All right, folks. So we're going to do a quick video on sleep position because I know that this is a problem for a lot of people that I've worked with recently who might even become like non-painful or feel great during the day, but then you go to sleep and you just wake up and like your back is stiff and you think about you need to get a new mattress and you just don't know what's going on. And so and you see these like charts on Instagram that have all these like different sleep positions, and that's like all well and good, but the problem is that that's not you on the chart. So it's important that you know your own body, and that's really the only way that you're going to find the optimal sleep position for yourself. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to go over just a couple ways to kind of find the best sleep position for you, and we'll talk about some modifications. Okay, and so I want to show you first some reasons why still would hurt. Okay, so let's start with sleeping either with your legs straight or sleeping with your back or sleeping with this, right? The commonality between all of these things is that with my legs extended like this, first of all, just lie here like this and notice, and lie on a hard floor, because that will tell you what is actually going on. Same thing's happening on a mattress, but it's squishy, so you might not kind of experience that quite as much. But what I want you to do is, again, just straighten your legs up and just lay here. Okay, my first question is, like, can you put your hand on your low back? Okay, if that's the case, what's actually happening is that you're maxing out the amount of hip extension that you have, okay, which means that when my hips are doing the work, when my hips are able to extend, my back is going to stay flat against the ground. And so, like, for me, I can do that to about here, but when I go beyond that, my back has to arch in order for that to happen. And so in that case, laying with your legs straight all night is going to create a lot of stress and tension in your back, whereas if you can bend your knees some, that might not necessarily be the case. All right, so that's thing one, is we're going to look at a test for hip extension. So first thing that I want you to do is we're just going to bring your knees to about 90 degrees. We're going to extend your leg back as far as you can, and we're going to drop down. Okay, ideally what I want here is I want the leg to get either around about to 90 degrees, about kind of where my hand is, or beyond that. And you can see that I'm a little bit limited there. I'm even more limited on this side. Okay, and so what that means is that when I lie with my legs straight, or even lie, or even do something like this where one leg is behind me, okay, that's going to torque one side of my low back. Okay, so a solution for that particular thing, okay, would be to lie, okay, with just something under your knees, okay, or something a little bit closer to my butt, because what that's going to do is it's going to put me back into a more flexed position so I don't go into my back when I straighten my legs out. By the same token, putting something between my knees as I'm sleeping, it's going to keep me from doing this thing where I'm rolling my leg behind me, but it's also going to kind of give me a better sleep position to work with when I straighten my legs out. Okay, so that's thing one. Now, thing two, okay, would be where we're kind of in this like fetal position where the leg is like super, super high, or you're kind of curling up like that. Okay, again, if your body doesn't have the amount of hip flexion necessary to make that happen, the way we test that is we straighten our legs out, we bring our knee to our chest. Okay, so my knee can get to about 90 degrees on the left and about 90 degrees on the right. So that means that if I'm like trying to pull my knee to my chest, I'm like sleeping like this, then again, I'm going to have to go into my back, and I'm going to have to flex my back in order to do that. And that's not what we want. That's going to be another thing, especially that, could potentially lead to some disc injuries. So again, with that, some ways that we work around that would actually be to just extend our legs out a little bit more. Okay, so rather than going like sleeping like this, and I know that's hard, we could put a pillow kind of to the side here to kind of block us. Okay, so the way that we would do that from a practical perspective is, just sleep next to a pillow. Okay, put it right next to me. That way, when I tend to go like this, the pillow kind of acts as resistance, and that's useful. The other thing that we can do when you're lying down is, again, just think about just sleeping with your legs a little bit straighter. That'll naturally, as you kind of roll over, that'll affect you less. All right. Now, last but not least, would be like when we wake up, we have like neck and shoulder pain. We can't turn our head. Okay. Oftentimes, the reason that is you go like that. Okay. Your arms are overhead. All right, so if we don't have the shoulder mobility, like I can get my arms to about here, so that if I'm sleeping like that, okay, I'm going to have to go into my neck and into my cervical spine to get into those range of motion. And that's why I'm going to wake up, with a pretty stiff neck. Okay. So, some solutions that we can do there would be to sleep with something under our elbows. Okay. And I know that seems weird, but, when I'm like this, when I roll over, I'm going to kind of naturally stay in this kind of position where my body's not going to want to go overhead, and it's going to be a subconscious thing, but it keeps my elbows down. The other thing would be to sleep in particular, even though your head is on a pillow, placing something behind your neck, like a rolled up towel or something like that, that'll just kind of keep a little bit of arch in your neck. That's something that will help to kind of maintain the kind of a good shape of I guess, extension in your neck. We don't, to avoid kind of this like, forward head posture that we might get otherwise if we put our head up on too many pillows. All right, I don't recommend that particular thing. All right, so the other thing that we could do with all of those is to do resets or breathing drills before we go to bed. Okay, and if we start in a really bad position because we're stiff from the day and we just go to bed, then that's going to transfer to how we move at night. And really, at night we are moving. Our bodies aren't getting in ranges of motion that we don't access during the day. So a couple of drills that I like for that. Exercise called 90-90 hip lift. I put my heels up on a chair. I dig my heels into the ground. I kind of tuck my pelvis off the ground. I reach for the ceiling. I breathe. I exhale. Feeling my hamstrings. It's going to help to kind of tuck my pelvis under me a little bit. And all you need to do really is about 10 breaths. And then all fours breathing. Okay, and all fours breathing is just, I put a pillow under my knees. I rock on all fours, open my hands up, take a deep breath in. And exhale. Just trying to get air into my upper back. Okay, and doing that again gives me a little bit more expansion and relaxation in my my neck, and my upper shoulders, and everything else. So I can get my arms overhead a little bit higher, and so I can, if I do go overhead, I have a little bit more room to work with throughout the night. So give that stuff a go, and let me know if you have any questions.